It's been 10,000 years, and finally we have something resembling Burning Abyss support. While not directly being BA cards specifically, it is something, and it does help facilitate the 3-axis Fiend Slop type of deck that Burning Abyss appears to be evolving into. I'm going to give you my initial thoughts on where I think this deck is going to go, as well as displaying some of the combos that I cooked up with this deck. So they've gotten 3 new cards. Yugioh, the Dawn's Light, a Fusion, Luch, the Dusk's Dark, and Mutiny in the Sky. I like the thematic Sanctuary in the Sky reference, I want to say. That kind of feels like that's alluding to it, but anyway. So a Fusion is not typically what you would think Burning Abyss needed. And just to caveat this is not going to make Burning Abyss competitive, but it has opened up a lot of potential plays with the deck using actual Burning Abyss cards. It's bittersweet in that an actual Burning Abyss monster is what I would have loved to have seen. And I think even today, the card quality of Graf and Seer especially still hold up to the test of time. The problem is that this deck doesn't really have an end board or direction. And while this Fusion is a really powerful card, you will notice that I'm going to be facilitating other engines. I've always said that this deck is going to need a new Dante retrain, a new rank 3 to go into, or some sort of link 1 that attributes Dante by using it as a material so you get the effect off, or at least also a Beatrice retrain. If you want to find out more about the Burning Abyss history from a competitive angle, I do have a full-length documentary that I worked on last year to celebrate the 10-year anniversary of Burning Abyss, and so you could also have a look at that if you're interested to find out more. There are very few things that flare up my modern competitive TCG spark for the game, but this here, I'm excited to play with these in 2 weeks' time. Let's have a read at the cards and I'll give you my thoughts as well as display the combos thereafter. This is Yugioh, the Dawn's Light, and can't really fault the artwork, man. Like, it's such a gorgeous card, but level 3 Dark Fiend, and it's a very, very powerful card. So how does this thing work? So it has and plays into this gimmick alongside the Fusion as well of the Burning Abyss monsters destroying themselves. And so it has this protection effect and the idea that you can summon this and keep your Burning Abyss monsters on the field. Now, I feel like this isn't as relevant as you think it's going to be, but if you are going to play a heavy Burning Abyss deck with this is obviously a really important effect, because the next effect is absolutely ridiculous. If this is in your hand, you can target a Fiend monster you control, negate it, and special this card. It's essentially Fiendish Rhino Warrior as an extender. That sounds incredible on paper. That card is also printed in 2015. So getting an update of a card from 10 years ago is fine. If you want to play this to spam the board and get more bodies onto the field, then you can definitely play 3 of this. You would probably play 3 of this anyway if you are trying to play actual Burning Abyss instead of just Fiend Slop with a minimal engine forcing it. But the real effect here that matters the most is the second effect of the searching of the Fusion spell, Mutiny in the Sky. If this is sent to the grave in any shape or form, either for cost 4 Cherubini, detached off of a Dante, discarded, you can add the spell card Mutiny in the Sky from your deck to your hand. Mutiny in the Sky is very simply a normal spell card. It performs a fusion summon of a Fiend or Fairy fusion from the extra deck by shuffling Fiends and Fairies from grave into the deck as a material. They basically created a searchable miracle fusion off of the Cherubini combo just to be able to summon Aerial Eater. You could of course summon the new guy, which I'll read in a moment, but Aerial Eater is very integral to a lot of these combos because it's a foolish bow for a Fiend monster, which naturally is going to work really well in Burning Abyss. I've been seeing people talk about using this in Dart Lords and Branded. I don't care. I'm here for the BA combos, and let me tell you, this 2-card interaction between Mutiny in the Sky, Yugioh, and I guess also to go into the Fusion is ludicrous. It is so good, and it makes Cherubini a really good choke point. Well, not even a choke point because it stands for cost, but that part of the deck is like a consistent engine in which it gets you further into your plays with these new cards. Also has another effect here that if it's in the grave, you can send a Fiend or Fairy from hand or face up field and add it back to your hand. Now, if you randomly mill this and you actually are trying to play traditional Burning Abyss of ending on multiple Dantes and milling, you can mill this and then add it to your hand from the graveyard. Like, if you played in 2014, you know how absolutely ludicrous that is, because it's like that crappy rank up spell we used to play, or Good and Evil, which wouldn't be able to be used on the turn it was sent there, and now you just have one that just makes a fusion. So a little too late in terms of the lifespan of Burning Abyss, but I think there will be some applications for this combo. And this is the big guy you're making. It's Luch, the Dusk's Dark, It's a 35-30 big beefy level 8 Fiend Fusion. It requires 3 Fiends and or Fairies, but that's very easy because you're using your graveyard to fusion summon this. And it has that protection effect very specifically designed for Burning Abyss. Monsters in your left and right main monster zones can't be destroyed by card effects. The following effect is you can target a card your opponent controls, send a Fiend or Fairy from deck to the grave, and destroy that card. So going second, this is a really powerful monster. It is removal, it's a mill to the deck for Burning Abyss to help you trigger Farfa, for example, to banish cards, Luch to negate things, perhaps Skarm to get a search if you require. There's so much versatility, and it sends any Fiend. Like, it's... The world is your oyster, really, at this point, because you don't have to be focusing on Burning Abyss cards. I'm obviously more concerned with Burning Abyss here. But this is an absolutely ridiculous monster. The fact that you're essentially making this for free is what makes this ridiculous, and if you are trying to play more Burning Abyss, and a Burning Abyss heavy style, your Burning Abyss monsters are protected. Like, you can still summon Burning Abyss monsters, which has always been a problem for the deck. And the final effect that makes this a really insane endboard piece is that if another card you control is destroyed by card effect, target a card on the field, destroy it. Now, the reason that's relevant is all the Burning Abyss monsters destroy themselves. Now, while we just did read it has protection for the Burning Abyss monsters, note that you don't have to summon the Burning Abyss monsters to your leftist and rightist most political spectrum zone. No, you can be a centrist. You can sit on the fence and allow wars to. So when you summon a Burning Abyss monster to your side of the field on your opponent's turn, probably by discarding with Graph, then it's going to trigger to destroy a card, and then the guy that you summoned, probably a Farfa, will trigger in the graveyard to banish a card. So you get a double disruption going first with this card. Overall, 3 incredibly powerful cards. Not what the deck needed and probably not the direction I wanted to see it go, but this is something that makes this deck go from completely irrelevant, absolute dumpster fire garbage, into somewhat of a competitive rogue deck. Like, I'm going to be playing this at locals and I might win some extra packs than I normally do. Let me show you what this deck is capable of. So this is one singular copy of Tour Guide. Tour Guide is basically the same combo as opening any 2 level 3s or any combination of a Burning Abyss and Rhino or Yugioh plus a good Burning Abyss name. We're going to make Cherubini here, trigger the Graph to special summon Seer. Cherubini is going to send Rhino Warrior, which sends Yugioh. Yugioh adds the Fusion spell. From here, we're going to go into... listen, it's like the cards were designed for this deck. You can't really be mad at me for this, but we're going to make Closed Moon, and then we're going to use the effect of Seer to bring back Cherubini. Bringing back a Link to for Fusion, Link Fodder is really powerful because we're going to basically be doing Link Slop, Fiend Slop with Link Summoning in this, and it's all Fiendsmith, baby, I know. But here's why it's relevant. So the Mutiny in the Sky can be activated here to Fusion Summon Aerial Eater by putting back Graph and Tour Guide. And you can send Skarm from your deck to the grave with the Aerial Eater. The reason that's really important is that you want a good discard in the end phase. You want to search Graph so that you can trigger the fusion in the end phase. Here is more Fiend Slop. Yep, these cards were all made for each other, I promise you. We're going to summon out Yama, bring back Engraver. That's going to give us the required materials to make the dog. We're going to pop it with Sharvara. Then on the new chain, we're going to trigger everything. Adding back Engraver to the hand with the Soul of Rage, and then Yama brings back the Lacrima, which we rank up into, or Contact Fuse, into Necroquip. Then we can use the Engraver we added to our hand to search Fiendsmith's Tract, and then we get a random draw in the process with the Necroquip after we use the Tract. We're going to use Tract to bring out Lurry from the deck. This gives us the Light Fiend required to be able to make Sequence, triggering the Sharvara in the process, which is going to set the Chamber from the deck here. So now we have a layered interruption with the Trap card, the Graveyard, against your opponent. We're going to use the Sequence here. That's going to perform a Fusion Summon. We're going to go for the 3 bodies. And fun fact, you can actually make Pilgrim Dante if you want. We don't want to do that, but if you want, you can make Pilgrim Dante. We're going to combine the link materials into Abao, which discards a card, banishes itself until the end phase, and then it's going to special summon back a Fiend from the graveyard. And that is going to give us the materials required for the Caesar. In the end phase, we're going to search for our Graph from Skarm, and that is all the disruptions on our opponent's turn here. So just off of a single Tour Guide, we have Abao discard to pop. Then the Graph triggers to special summon Farfa. We're putting it in the middle zone so that it dies. This is going to trigger the Luch, which is going to pop a card. Farfa is going to banish. We have double Solemn Warning. We have the Chamber bringing back the Soul of Rage, which links off a body. And then SP is going to banish a card and then banish another card. We also, of course, still have the Lacrima. And we can use the Fiendsmith Paradise as well on the opponent's turn for Desiree. So all in all, you have, I think, 8 disruptions off of a single copy of Tour Guide from the Underworld. Now, from a competitive standpoint, that sounds all well and cool, but a light fart in the wind shuts this combo down, which is why this is not going to be competitively viable. The choke points are way too obvious and too plentiful, really, to stop this deck. Regardless, it is still so freaking fun and still so cool that this deck is capable of doing this. Now, some things I want to try and prove in this combo is we didn't use Aerial Eater. The effect to banish from the graveyard is really hard to resolve. You're going to have to use Double Engraver because it banishes 2 level 6 or higher fiends with the same attribute. I made a lot of mistakes in my initial combo drafting of this because I was banishing Necroquip and Engraver. That's obviously, you can't do that because it's light and dark. They need to be the same attribute. So if anyone figures out like other lines that help this deck, you know, maybe utilize some Burning Abyss cards, that would be cool. And I did cook up some other combos utilizing the Duke of Demise in my extra deck, which allows you to normal summon Tour Guide twice. I might show that on stream, so pay attention to my highlight channel if you're interested in that. But for this, this is just a single Tour Guide. Let me show you what just 2 BAs do. Now, I don't want to just play like 3 Tour Guide, Graph Seer, and then call it a day. I want this to be an actual Burning Abyss deck that you want to play Burning Abyss monsters in. Obviously, that's going to make it worse. But let's see what just 2 Burning Abyss names do. And these are not good names, because if you draw either Graph or Seer, you're able to get an extra body, which helps you do the exact same combo I just showed, except it's 2 cards instead of 1, because obviously Tour Guide is just more powerful. So these are just 2 blank names, basically. Libich and Farfa here. It's basically going to be the same thing. We're going to go Graph, we're going to go Cherubini. That's going to send Mutiny in the Sky. Add Mutiny in the Sky, sorry, for Yugioh off of the Cherubini effect. We're going to fuse the 2 Burning Abyss names here into Aerial Eater. Aerial Eater is going to go Graph into Seer. And from here, it's very similar as the last combo. The only disadvantage to this combo is that I couldn't get a discard. Because your Aerial Eater isn't sending Scarm, you don't have a discard for a Bow to be able to trigger the Luch. So essentially, it's a 2-card combo that ends on the... You end on the fusion, but you don't actually have the destruction effect. So if you draw any other Burning Abyss card, obviously you can alleviate that issue, because you can just discard one of the Burning Abyss, like Graph or Seer in your hand, and then trigger it regardless. So it ends up becoming like a 3-card combo, which is really inefficient and definitely not good enough in modern competitive standards. But obviously, I'm trying my best to make this work. So if you find any lines here that work out, do let me know. But it's sort of the same as what we've already done here. Use the Unchained engine to be able to add back the Engraver and Revive. Gives you a draw, which, I mean, you can draw into Burning Abyss cards if you want to play the heavy version here, and it's kind of the same as we've done already. We're going into the sequence. The sequence is going to go into the Luch, but I suppose, like, if you don't have a way to trigger Luch, you could just make Pilgrim Dante. The problem is Pilgrim Dante is not a disruption. It just draws cards, which, I mean, is fine, but you want to be discarding Burning Abyss names. So I guess, like, if you have multiple bad names, you can keep Farfa in your hand instead of summoning it, and then you can use it to discard off of Pilgrim and use it as a banish. You can see here, this is the combo with just 2 blank names, and it makes this end board that I've already shown. The problem is that you don't get the Luch interaction, so there's no way to trigger this. You still get the Caesar, the Abal, the Link Off, the SP, etc., Fiendsmith and Paradise, but you don't actually get the effect to trigger. So I'm stuck. I was up for like an hour or 2 last night trying to make this work, and I couldn't figure out how to make just 2 blank BAs work. But I gave it my best. I'm sure someone much smarter than I am will be able to come up with a way to fix this. Let me know in the comment section down below what you have come up with, if at all. Genuinely, I'm not just saying this as like the YouTube algorithm thing. If you find a way to fix, let me know. I want to know. I can't wait to sleeve this up and take this to locals. I used to do a vlog series on my channel last year where I'd go to locals every week and film my games. I will do this again at least once because I really want to play with these cards. So stay tuned for that. I'm really excited to sleeve up my Burning Abyss cards again, so glad to see that this is world premiere. It shows that Konami in the West is definitely interested in this deck here, despite the fact that we didn't get direct Burning Abyss cards. So I'm really looking forward to seeing if we maybe get actual Burning Abyss cards in the near future. Perhaps this is alluding to future support, because some new main deck toys to play with would be absolutely amazing. Thanks everyone for tuning into this video. I'll see you in the next one, and have a great weekend.